8-year assault on your Second Amendment freedoms has come to a crashing end. I like taking the guns early. Take the guns first, go through due process second.
Well, I say go fuck yourself. Then ask a question, could I kill a man? I would enjoy myself. You can't disguise the evil eyes that burn a hole in my head. This devil man and his master plan. We feel so misled, so I say, rise up, take it all back. Rise up, take it all back. Rise up. I hope you all understand. We got to take it all back again.
These people are not going to take it any longer. We will never give up. We will never concede. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. But go home and go home in peace. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. You do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
Ooh, I forgot to turn on lights. Oh, it's been a minute. One second. I was wondering why I wasn't getting shined in the face. All right, there we go. A little better. What's up, Tack Nugs? Tackle Nugs. Gerald B. and Brenda's in the house. Jay Sparks is here. What's up, Jay Sparks? How you doing? Gerald is almost done eating. Take your time. Don't choke. Chew. He's probably having nuggets. Chicken nuggets. Tactical nugs. I was going with something with that. So how has your week been? This has been the first week without an evening catch-up. I guess the Green Dragon, at least when I'm running, it's going to be kind of a catch-up with a little bit of after chat, I guess, which is the dragon. and less stories over here than would be on my main channel, which I don't really have a main channel. If you guys don't know about that, my main channel, Poison Stinger, got deleted by YouTube for constant YouTube community guidelines violations. Basically, I talk about the news, what's going on in the world, and anytime you mention anything about elections or whatever flu bugs going around, they really get on top of you on that one. Although I was looking through Green Dragon Tavern Chats' channel because I have access to it. Hello, I'm streaming. It has an active warning. It has a warning. It has a warning from April, so it's not anything real soon or recent. But I was looking over it and I was trying to remember the chat itself. It was in April. It got a community guideline warning. I mean, remove the video and all that, but it got one because of cyber bullying / harassment. And now I'm like, what the fuck? Who the hell? Yeah. Me and Tactical Nugs, formerly known as Riddle Girl, been talking about the evening catch up, and she definitely misses it. There's parts of it that I miss a lot too. As I said, I don't like fighting with you. I'm done fighting with the YouTube. The whole changing up channels and stuff, come to the realization that it's not really going to go anywhere because YouTube won't allow it to go anywhere. And anytime it does go anywhere, it's going to be striked or strucken. And until the channel is, let's say it even got monetized, they would eventually demonetize it, just like just like they eventually demonetized my channel before they deleted it. So it's like, do I really want to fight that fight? Do I want to invest all the effort that I do in order to bring the evening catch up live on air? Do I want to do that and never gain a bigger audience? The reason I was doing the news was twofold. It gave me something to talk about, and two, I don't like looking into the news. Before Irish had come back with the morning muster, before I even started doing the evening catch up, I wasn't watching the news, and I was okay with that. There was other problems in my life for sure that I've talked to about before, but not watching the news was not one of them. And so coming back and watching, an hour of news or reading an hour's worth of news was a happy compromise. Anyway, so Riddle and I have looked, and I believe it is Rumble who is now allowing live streaming to happen. Rumble. Now, I believe you have to pay for it. I forget how much it is. I think it's $25 a month.
Yeah, we're going to need a sponsor for that.
$25 a month. That's not the only thing, though. Also, Restream is what I use. I kind of want to use Restream because I want to send streams out to a lot of different platforms at the same time. Now with Rumble, I have to get the Restream thing. I have to buy that, and I forget how much that is per month. It's like a upfront. It's all Black Fridays right now, so there's deals on all of it. But the Restream, maybe I can pull it up here real quick. The Restream I have to pay for because I can't add a destination to Rumble right now. So I would have to do it as a custom destination. And in order to make it a custom destination, you have to pay for their service. And as far as how much it is, not exactly sure. Hold on, get Black Friday deal. Okay, so there's an $8 a month and a $20 a month, but its billed is yearly. So the standard $8 a month is $95 a year. That's usually $19 a month. But because of Black Friday, it's 50% off, making it $8. You get a multi-stream to 30 plus platforms, one channel per platform. Now, I would personally like more than one channel per platform because I also do a gaming stream, but I'm just saying this would do it. Facebook pages and groups unlocked. I don't care about that. Custom RTPM destination. That's what I need in order to stream it to Rumble. No restream branding. I never really noticed it anyway. Your overlay logo, videos, and backgrounds in studio. I have no idea. Save recording 6 hours. I don't give a shit. Up to 10 on-screen guests, which is kind of cool. Restream though. Why would I get up to 10 on-screen guests for restream unless they offer a way to do like what StreamYard does, or maybe they're connected to StreamYard. I don't know. But it's going to be, yeah, $8 a month for the restream so I can even stream to Rumble. And then obviously $25 a month in order to have the streaming capability on Rumble. So that's what we're looking at if we were to continue on doing it. And I missed some of it. Right. I would... If I'm on Rumble, I could maybe get a following on Rumble. Things are monetized immediately on Rumble, which are nice. Of course, $25 a month, I'm going to be losing money on that for a while. So that's where we're at with the evening catch-up. But if you miss it, there are ways to donate to the channel down in the descriptions below. Just remember that 50% of it goes to Rally Point Irish. So that's what we're looking at. All right. As far as my week, hey, what's up, Mule? How you doing? We won't be on my stories for very long because I don't really do a lot of stories, but I do have some that I'm going to bring up. But yeah. Let's see. Do miss the catch up. Would love to do it. But there's parts of it that I'm glad I don't do. The week, because I usually tell you how my day went. The week has been up and down, man. It has been what it is. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving was pretty good. Riddle got sick a lot because she can't handle eating food anymore. Like at all. Let alone the kind of food that you would get at a Thanksgiving banquet. I think turkey was the only one that she kind of had a decent time with, but I don't know. I guess you've been having issues with meat now too, Riddle? Or Tactical Nugs? So that might be a thing. Yeah, just been kind of chilling out for the most part. We're able to pay back about almost a half of a loan that we had. Actually, I'd say a third, maybe. A third of a loan that we had out. So we got a ways to go on that still, and it's only going to accrue interest, but trying to get our financials in order, which is a pain in the ass. I am going to be going to a gun show, though, probably in early December. Going to be taking my friend Daniel over there. He's going to be looking for a pistol. So that'll be fun. I think he's paying for my way in. If not, it's not a big deal. But if he is, great. You know, it's even cheaper for me. I love going to gun shows, even if I'm broke. It's always fun to look and shop, right? Acquitted and demand Rittenhouse eyes lucrative opportunities. He wants to be a nurse, but I'm telling you, dude, you could make a lot more money doing other things rather than being a nurse. After he was acquitted last week in self-defense shootings following last year's Antifa riots in Kenosha, Kyle Rittenhouse went from starting a possible life behind bars to a red-hot star of the right. An exclusive interview with Tucker Carlson and a visit with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, capped by a photo of both men smiling and snapping a thumbs up. Good thing that they weren't doing the other, thing that I didn't mean to do. Habit. The further possibility of successful defamation lawsuit against current President Biden and members of the corrupt left media who smeared him with bogus claims of being a white supremacist and a murderer could also make him a very wealthy person, much like it did former teen media victim Nick Sandmann. In his interviews with Fox News, Rittenhouse hinted that he was looking into possible liable lawsuits. I feel like my life has been extremely defamed, he said, adding, I have a really good lawyer who are taking care of it right now. For Rittenhouse, a year of legal uncertainty over whether his claim of self-defense would stand up has given way to uncertainty over what's next. He told Carlson in an appearance that spiked the host ratings by some 40%, that he hoped to become a nurse or maybe even a lawyer. He planned to lay low, but would for sure leave the Midwest. He might be coming to Arizona because he was talking about going to ASU. Well, he's a student at ASU, but he was actually talking about going to in campus. So that would be in Tempe. Pretty close. Well, Riddle, we'll have to go drive down Tempe a few times a night just to see if we see somebody, protecting the Tempe area.
Right?
It's a very leftist part of the Phoenix metro area, though, so I'm kind of curious at how his life is going to be going to ASU. I mean, I know he's got security, but still, people are going to give him shit wherever he goes, and then I'm sure there'll be a petition to kick him out of the school, and maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. Even as Rittenhouse figures out his next moves, fundraising continues on his behalf, essentially to retire legal bills from his trial, but perhaps in recognition that he may face civil lawsuits over the shootings. Rittenhouse has hinted he may bring defamation claims of his own and could seek possession of $2 million in bail money raised by his supporters. That's good. I hope he does. I wouldn't go near it on a number of levels. Rick Baccarat, CEO and branding and marketing for Celebrity Focus, said, but someone that's out there is going to want to tell his story. He could easily secure a 7-figure book contract, said Andrew Mistroth or Emstroth. 7 figures? That's what, at least $10 million? Wow. Rittenhouse, he said, could monetize his brand and potentially make millions. Rittenhouse could get the $2 million that was raised for his bail, though there is a legal battle for it. In Kenosha County, where he was tried, if a defendant is acquitted, the entire bail amount is typically refunded to whoever posted it upon a judge's order. The poster of the bail is not necessarily the defendant, said Rebecca Mintick, the clerk of courts for Kenosha County. Rittenhouse's bail was posted by his former attorney John Pierce, who said he has relinquished claim to the money. What's up?
That he relinquished claim to the money, so he's gonna let Rittenhouse have it?
Maybe. Mark Richards, Rittenhouse's current attorney, said in Friday filing it should go to his client. Fight Back Foundation, the organization that raised the funds and transferred them to Pierce so bail could be paid, argues that the money should be refunded to the organization. I think if you were to ask the people who donated to that organization to help Kyle out, I would say it's a healthy majority. I would say it's a healthy majority that they would all want him to keep it. The money that I donated to him, I would like him to keep it, to do whatever he wants to do with it. He's the one that had to face this shit. The organization, I mean, thank you, but I'm sure you're skimming enough off the top as it is. After his acquittal, GoFundMe lifted a ban on Rittenhouse's fundraisers that had been in place as part of a policy blocking fundraising for legal defense of someone accused of a violent crime. Believe me, that is not strictly enforced. For all you people out there that get in these arguments about Rittenhouse, I know Riddle does, and they're like, well, a black man would have never gotten away with that. Bullshit. There's a guy, a black man, who went into school and shot at, 5 people, injuring 4 of them, and got out on bail the next day. Because, that's not attempted murder or anything. He sat in prison for how many months did he say? Like 18 months? No, it wasn't 18 months.
It wasn't even that. It was a very low number.
Yeah. There didn't appear to be any new fundraising efforts for Rittenhouse on the GoFundMe website, though. But there is at least 3 efforts to raise money for Rittenhouse or his family on GiveSendGo, which has raised more than $625,000, including thousands since his acquittal. It's not clear how much an additional website, freekyleusa.org, has raised. One email Tuesday from Free Kyle USA, sent under the name of Rittenhouse's mother, Wendy, called his acquittal a victory for the truth, for justice, and for every American's God-given and inalienable right of self-defense. Said the funds would go towards case-related debts, legal bills, and then towards a scholarship fund for Rittenhouse so he can graduate from college without debt. That would be nice. See? Give them the money. He may not have to wait around for donations. Stroth estimated Rittenhouse could command a speaking fee on the lecture circuit of anywhere between $2,500 and $25,000 a speech. Stroth and Bachrach said that they would never seek to represent Rittenhouse, and that many speakers. Yeah. There's a lot to that story. Wow. Yeah, Rittenhouse himself may need to move fast for the most gain from his story. I would say so. Of Rittenhouse's fame, he said, I think it has a shelf life, but I don't think it will ever go away. Nick Sandman's still in the news, and he didn't kill nobody. I've been trying to think of shirts that I could print out that would have some Rittenhouse stuff. But to be honest, got to have a following in order to have merch. So we'll tackle merch if and when we ever get a following again. Trump and Rittenhouse trigger raging leftists with a photo. That was the thumbnail today. I think it's cool that they met. That's awesome. Former president had high praise for Rittenhouse, one of the few remaining Americans willing to defend himself and others from rioters and revolutionaries. Trump emphasized Rittenhouse's courage after inviting the teenager to Mar-a-Lago. Kyle, I got to know him a little bit. He called. He wanted to know if he could come over and say hello. Wow, Rittenhouse contacted Trump? How does that even work? Trump also expressed sympathy for the Rittenhouse and his mother, who joined them for the conversation because he's a fan, unlike the other guy. He came over with his mother, really a nice young man, Trump said. And what he went through, that was a prosecutional misconduct, Trump added, before blaming Democrats and the mainstream media for their longtime running campaign aimed at ruining Rittenhouse's life. He should not have had to suffer through a trial like that, said Trump. If he didn't pull that trigger, that guy that put the gun to his head in 1/4 of a second, he was going to pull the trigger. Kyle would have been dead, Trump said. Since his exoneration, Rittenhouse has made the media rounds, beginning with Tucker Carlson. Ooh, I need to find other ones that he's been on now. Shit. I'm behind. I've only seen the Tucker one. I am waiting for the documentary that's coming out, though, in December from Tucker. Hopefully I'll be able to watch that free. Fox News interview reached 5.05 million viewers, more than any event since January 6th. Rittenhouse was acquitted. We already know that. Yeah, slow night. It's all good. I would imagine people got family in town and shit, or they're out of town. Bail double standards seen in Waukesha child killer versus January 6th political dissidents. This is the guy who ran over people in a parade, I guess. I mean, this guy's a piece of work. And you do, I was watching Mark Dice earlier today. You do have people calling for, car control, because they shouldn't be able to have an SUV or something like that. After BLM radical Darrell Brooks violently rammed dozens of people with a car in Waukesha, Wisconsin, he was able to post bail for $5 million. He posted bail. He's not in jail. Rittenhouse was in jail. Meanwhile, January 6 protesters have been denied release on 15 million bond offers. Brooks killed 6 and injured 62 women and children among them by using his car as a weapon. Trump rally-goers killed 0 and did not ram their cars into large crowds. The prosecution requested a $5 million bail despite him already having been free on bail from a previous crime at the time. He was on bail at the time. No, you shouldn't get bail. Judge Costello said the sum was extraordinarily high, but critics point out that there was nothing to prevent someone from volunteering to pay the $5 million fee. This means that Brooks, a violent and dangerous criminal, could be released back into public at any moment. Rittenhouse, soon after being arrested, posted bail after his $2 million bond was crowdsourced. It wasn't soon after being arrested. Since the left has a tendency to support anyone who is seen as a pro-BLM, regardless of how radical or deadly it seems probable to some that his release will be funded. I think Darrell Brooks will post bail, one critic wrote. It's $5 million. There are those in our country who probably think he did a great service to mankind and could pay to bail him out. They'll do it. Another critic added, Waukesha's parade suspect Darrell Brooks facing 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, held on $5 million bail. That is even dumber than the low bail that got him out to begin with. Democrats and the media have campaigned extensively to turn Brooks into a hero, defending his murderous spree when given the opportunity. Really? How can anybody defend his actions? Mary Lemansky, the social media director of the Democratic Party in DuPage, Illinois, the people of Wisconsin deserve what they got. Oh, because of Rittenhouse. Someone who believes in reaping what you sow, Lemansky wrote in a tweet that has since been deleted. Wisconsin put that bad energy out there. It came back real fast. You gotta love the bad energies. DOJ to target airplane terrorism, but not the jihadist kind. Most likely the people aren't wearing their cloth face coverings, I would imagine. Micromanage the lives. Passenger behavior. Yep. Garland's memo issued Wednesday emphasizes that the Justice Department is committed to aggressively prosecuting violent passengers who assault crew members or endanger their safety of other passengers. Federal law prohibits interfering with flight crew, including assaulting, intimidating, or threatening crew members, obviously. Such conflicts have increased largely due to demands over the authoritarian mask mandates, despite... Yeah, I ain't touching that. In a statement, Garland said such passengers do more than harm employees. They prevent the performance of critical duties to help ensure safe air travel. Similarly, when passengers commit violent acts against other passengers in the close confines of commercial aircraft, the conduct endangers everyone aboard. I would definitely say so. So, make sure to wear whatever they tell you to do, just do it. Get from your point A to point B. If you're still flying, man, I feel sorry for you. The only great thing about flying is that you're there so fast. Like, it took me 3 days to go from here to Wisconsin. But it would have taken me 3 hours if I had flown. And you get a free, molestation out of it. So that's always fun. I think I'm done here at the house tonight. Next time the grandkids want a snack, it's Brenda's turn. Well, that's good. Apparently, Biden reads the end of quote off the teleprompter. Let's watch it.
Innovation. Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change. End of quote. Because of the actions we've taken, things have begun to change. End of quote. In the past 3 weeks.
End of quote. Huh, I wonder why the volume just shuts off right there. Oh, okay. So he's denying it. Sure. South Dakota Supreme Court nullifies voter-passed legislation of marijuana. This is very sad. It's injustice. South Dakota ticks a lot of boxes. South Dakota was on the short list of places to move to at one point because of how many boxes it checks. They never shut down anything. They never made you wear something you didn't want to wear. They never closed. I mean, I think they are a constitutional carry state, and now they voted for legalized marijuana. And the Supreme Court, I mean, the people there are free, you can tell that. But they're going to have to do something about their Supreme Court. South Dakota Supreme Court on Wednesday upheld a lower court ruling that nullified a voter-passed amendment to the state constitution that would have legalized recreational marijuana use. Governor Kristi Noem instigated the legal fight to strike down the amendment passed by the voters in November. You know, that lady that we all thought was just the bee's knees last summer. Though the Republican governor opposed marijuana legalization as a social ill, her administration's argument in court centered on technical violations to the state's constitution. The court sided with those arguments, ruling that the measure would have violated the state's requirement that constitutional amendments deal with just one subject and would have created broad changes to state government. About 54% of voters had approved the amendment, known as Amendment A, to legalize adult recreational pot use, medical marijuana, and hemp cultivation. But Highway Patrol Superintendent Colonel Rick Miller sued on Nome's behalf. Pennington County Sheriff Kevin Tom also joined the lawsuit. The state Supreme Court's decision upheld a circuit court's judge ruling in February. Advocates for pot legalization have appealed, arguing that the Supreme Court should dismiss the legal challenge because it would overturn the will of the voters and dampen their future ability to enact laws through the ballot box. Well, if the citizens vote for something, I mean, we're the ones that are supposed to be in control in this republic. They're supposed to work for us. So it should be, again, in my opinion, and it's just take it for whatever you will, just my opinion, I think if the voters say it, that should be the last thing, unless the voters say murder is now legal, which if they did, and it wasn't by a popularity vote, but more of a, what do you call it, electoral college one, where everybody gets equal representation, then okay, right? I think I just advocated for murder, but it is what it is. Marijuana has become broadly accepted around the United States, with a Gallup poll in November showing 68% of Americans favored legalization. South Dakota was among the 4 states that month to approve recreational marijuana, along with New Jersey, Arizona, and Montana. 15 states and the District of Columbia have done so. A separate voter-passed law that legalizes medical marijuana is set to take effect in South Dakota on July 1st. Yeah, it's all very, very sad, though. I don't know. Too bad South Dakota is so cold. Yeah, that was the main drawback of South Dakota, was because it was so damn cold. I was like, oh hell no. Fuck that shit. Oh my god. All right, that's the right one. So, go ahead and get the chat in the chat room. Pin that to the top. Y'all can join when you're able, if you want. And I'll be here for probably 30 minutes by myself, just chit-chatting, unless you guys want to jump in. If not, that's fine as well. We'll just chit-chat. Yeah, South Dakota's cold. It's beautiful. I don't know if it'd be as cold as Wisconsin. I bet it would be close. There's still a lot of good things about South Dakota, man. You can go to Sturgis. That'd be fun. There's Mount Rushmore. I've never seen that. That'd be fun. I think South Dakota is one of the only states I haven't been in before, and North Dakota. I don't think we ever drove up that far north. Little. There's a few cold states that we were thinking about. Wisconsin is one of them, obviously. Idaho and South Dakota. Gerald B's in the house.
Hello.
What's up, Gerald B? How you doing?
Oh, not a whole. Doing pretty good.
That's good.
I think I'm gonna have to head downstairs in a minute.
So how's your week been?
Yeah. Oh, it's been pretty good.
Nice.
Had kind of a disappointing day yesterday.
Oh shit.
Well, we cooked a 24 3/4 pound turkey, and it was just me and Brenda ended up here. Well, my mother was supposed to come over. My brother was supposed to come over.
So
well,
you
my
had
mother
all that food and nobody there to eat it?
Exactly. My brother calls me up when he gets back from working on his tractor at my mom's. He says, well, if you want, you can bring me over a plate. He goes, well, I'm too fucking beat to go anywhere. And Mom come up with a dozen excuses why she couldn't make it here, and turned out they were all a bunch of damn lies.
Yeah, I don't know, man. People never get tired of lying.
Well, what it was is she'd been going to her boyfriend's out, family's place past couple of years. Well, this year they wanted Chinese food for Thanksgiving dinner. So I told my mom, I said, well, my mom wanted a turkey dinner. I said, well, why don't you come out here? I said, you've been going there the past couple of years anyways. And she goes, well, you're right. She goes, I'll come out to your place. Yesterday, after we had everything cooking, she calls up saying, oh, I don't feel good and all this shit. Turns out she had to unload the turkey dinner she had in the refrigerator that she was going to cook today and take it over to her boyfriend's daughter's house so they could have a Thanksgiving dinner because none of the Chinese restaurants were open. So he says, yeah, you should have sent him over a freaking bag of rice and a pork chop. So here,
Since
make
when
some
did the
pork fried
Chinese
rice.
places start closing on Thanksgiving?
Around here, everything closes.
I suppose.
The little convenience store here in town closed at 1 o'clock yesterday.
Hmm.
So if you wanted anything, you better get there before 1.
Right.
If not, you're looking at the next nearest place open was Bangor, and that's 17 miles each way. And then it would have just been a convenience store.
It's a Saturday Night Live Christmas special.
Saturday Night Live. I can't even watch that stuff anymore. Although I heard there was a good skit like last week. I don't remember what it was all about, but somebody told me about that. I think it was my
Holy
daughter.
shit. But generally, you didn't get Saturday Night Live on until after 11:30.
Right.
At least that's the way it was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But I grew up in the fun days of Saturday Night Live. Dan Aykroyd and all them.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. I mean, it was even political even back then, but it was a lot less.
There
And
was a
not
lot less political.
everything is not like nowadays. Every fucking skit is political, and the
Yeah, but
ones,
back then they didn't care what party it was. They
yeah,
were still shitting on it. Now they just shit on the Democrats, on the Republicans. I mean,
yeah. And I wouldn't even mind that if it was like, okay, well, the weekend update is heavily slanted, all right? But at least the skits are still funny. No, they're not. They're not funny
yeah.
at all. Just awkward shit, you know.
Jimmy Fallon trying to sing.
Did you ever watch the was it the Dave Chappelle thing on Netflix?
I've watched some Dave Chappelle things, but
No, not the recent ones.
not recently. No.
No.
I'm gonna head downstairs.
All right.
Grab a bite.
Yep,
Brenda
tactical
says hi.
notes.
Hi.
What's up?
Trying to break.
I thought I would just join while I'm out here. Hey, Brenda, how you doing?
Oh, trying to recuperate. It's a long day.
I'm
Yes.
sorry to hear you did all that cooking for nothing.
Yeah. But one of your leftovers.
Yeah.
Riddle had gotten an idea, or Tactical Notes got an idea for if we ever did do the food truck Thanksgiving Day sliders, which I'm sure somebody out there already does, but basically everything that's in a Thanksgiving dinner, like on a bun.
Yeah, so I took the turkey
Oh, that
and gravy and put that down, the gravy first and then the turkey on one side. On the other side of the roll, I put the green bean casserole, and then I put the coleslaw and the stuffing and the mashed potatoes in there. And it was just so good.
Wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Because she also baked rolls when we went there, because we went over to our neighbors for Thanksgiving. She cooked
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
way too much.
I'm going
food
to
for
actually
us.
do that again when we eat dinner later.
Yeah. I'll tell you, last Friday night, oh my word.
Yeah.
Oh, I got pretty toasted.
Yeah, you're new to this. I forgot. I keep forgetting you're new to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, last Friday night was her birthday, so
Right on. Well, yeah, you got to get wasted on your birthday.
Absolutely.
Then New Year's Eve, we're going to get wasted too. So,
Nice. Wake
our
up. What year is
anniversary.
it? I don't even know.
That's your anniversary, New Year's?
New
yeah.
Year's Eve,
Wow.
Oh, nice. That's wonderful.
23 years.
How long?
That was my
23.
idea.
23.
23.
43 years?
23.
23.
Yeah.
23 years. That was my idea for New Year's Eve.
Hey,
want-
Mule.
Mule's in the house. Yeah.
That way I'd never forget when it was, and
Yeah.
it would be
That was
celebrating
kind
New
of why
Year's
we
Eve
did ours
anyway.
on April 1st.
Yeah.
We did ours on April 1st, so it's April Fool's Day. It also goes
Mule,
with
you're
our
muted.
4-month spread of all the important holidays, birthdays and now anniversary.
We got dogs coming down the stairs. And every time I run down, Cookie runs down in front of me barking.
All right.
Oh, she thinks she's got to go out every time I walk down the stairs. Then if I open the door and let her out, she'll run out on the porch and probably beat me closing the door, getting back in.
Put any jokes in the chat, Riddle or Nugs?
You like it that I put tactical nugs in there?
Oh, I see that you put a joke in the private.
So how many comments did you get on yesterday's video?
I didn't make a video yesterday.
No, I only got
Tactical
2
nugs
comments.
did.
One from Mule and one from you, Gerald.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot about that one. She did
That
that.
little 10-second video.
Yeah. I forgot all about that.
I'm sitting here. Oh, I was looking at the phone. What the hell? They're having something going on today. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was pretty quick, right?
I know here Mule.
Mule muted. Mule's got shit he's dealing with, most likely.
I think Nugs needs to go in there and get some bomb. Hold on.
Damn it, I should have hid my camera before I did it. Muted the mic.
Yeah, I'm giving Declan a bath.
Oh, yeah, okay. No problem, man. Oh, that's so nice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
I'm giving Deck a bath. That's why the camera's off, and
Yeah.
I just stepped out of the room to answer you because I'm not ignoring you. I'm here. I'm just not here.
You're taking your spot. No, that's good, man.
Yeah, we got a 5-year-old grandson and our soon-to-be 12-year-old granddaughter here for the night.
Yeah, well, he's the 4-year-old grandson lives me, and he's in the bath right now. So
All right.
I'm back at it.
Hey, man, it's the small things. I miss giving my kid a bath, and I don't have a grandkid to do it to, so good moments. My daughter was thinking about adopting a kid, but that fell through. I'm not exactly sure how I feel on that, whether I'm excited that it fell through or not. I mean, in a way, kind of sucks because I know she wanted it, but at the same time, it's going to save her a lot of headaches later on.
Yep. Well, Chelsea will be 12 next Friday.
Your dog?
No, my granddaughter.
Oh. Sorry.
No, the dog's birthday ain't till December 12th.
So our neighbor has a dog named Chelsea. She's an ornery little bitch.
So my granddaughter.
Yeah, I didn't say that though.
She got suspended from school 2 weeks ago for vaping in the girls' room.
Really?
She's
Yeah.
at 12.
At 11, almost 12.
Well, you should have her listen to Motley Crue smoking in the boys' room because I mean
Well,
she might find
we did.
that. Okay.
Every
Man, I
time
at
she
least
come,
waited until I was
every time
16.
she come around, well, she was suspended from school. We kept playing it over and over
Right?
because everybody knows that smoking ain't allowed in school.
Oh my gosh, I was such a bad kid. I actually sold cigarettes in the girls' room for $1 a
Well,
piece. I made a
well,
killing.
her mother's got the medical card and she's got the THC vape pens. So when she said that her daughter got caught in school vaping, I said, "So where were your vape pens at the time?" She goes, "They were locked up in my little safe upstairs beside the bed." She goes, "They weren't those ones."
Oh,
Well, that's
good.
good. Yeah, that'd be even worse.
All she needs is a drug charge on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 days suspension for smoking in junior high.
3 days, that's it? My
Yeah.
goodness. So when I was in high school, I went to a private boarding high school that was Seventh Day Adventist, right? So been raised Seventh Day Adventist, and so I got sent to this school where actually I had some family history at this school, right? So I'm going to this school. It's like $8,000 a year. Uh, my family's not that rich to pay for it, so we're getting grants and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to this school, Christian school. You got to go to church when you're living there, and you are living there, right? So luckily, I didn't mind that because it got me away from my parents. But I'm always constantly trying to break the rules. So I was drinking, I was smoking when I was 16, which I wasn't 12 or 11, but I mean, and then I think, yeah, I don't know. I think I got busted like twice for selling pornography because I'd go get a whole bunch of porno mags and then sell them to other kids in the school.
When I was in high school, I'm surprised I never got caught doing shit like that. The only times I ever got caught doing anything was just cutting classes.
Yeah, it's hard not to get caught on that.
Yeah, it was funny the first time I got in trouble for cutting classes. A bunch of us got kicked out of our classes we were in, sent to the vice principal's office. We were all real good friends. So the vice principal thought it was some sort of conspiracy. He goes, "Wait a second, you guys all came from different classes this period instead of the same class." And said, "Hey, shit happens." And he goes, "Well, when the bell rings, go to lunch and then go to your next class." Well, the bell rang, we got up to go to lunch, and the secretary stopped us. Time he got back to his office, it was 1 o'clock. He goes, "Well, what are you guys doing back?" I says, "Back? We never left." I says, "Your secretary wouldn't let us go to lunch because you never said nothing to her about it."
Jeez.
So he looked at her. He goes, "They were supposed to go to lunch and then to the next class."
Damn.
And I said, "Well, we're going to Pat's for lunch." We took off from the school, went to Pat's Pizza, got lunch. Time lunch was over. Heck, it was 1:45. We got out at 2:15. So what was the sense of going back to school? We went home. Well,
And so you were allowed to leave campus for lunch?
we weren't supposed to, but we were entitled to have lunch. And since the cafeteria was already closed and they had
Right.
a study hall going in there, what was we going to do?
Exactly. No, we weren't allowed to leave either, but we would.
Well, it was funny because the next day we all got called into the vice principal's office. We all got 3 nights of detention for 45 minutes a night. Last night of detention, when they said we can leave, we get up to leave, and the brain surgeon of our crew that got caught, he goes, "We're still up 15 minutes on him." Yeah, he says, "Hey, by the way, stop in again tomorrow night. You guys owe me another 15 minutes." Then when I did get suspended, well, he told me if I left the school, I'd get suspended. I looked at him and said, "You can't suspend me." I quit and I walked out. So did I get suspended or did I quit? Well, when I got home, my old man wasn't impressed anyway because they called him up and said I was suspended.
Hey,
Hey, what's up, Mule?
There he is.
I just gotta say, I barely fucking remember high school.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so
that's
much
where
life
most of
and
my
drugs
memories.
and
I
shit
was gonna
back
Oh,
say it was
then.
probably a lot of drugs.
the
Yeah,
one, the
life,
one
drugs,
year
and
I
crime. I haven't really changed much. And when I'm with the people that are still alive from high school, then I start remembering shit. But yeah,
Right on.
you know,
it's sad when you think about how many people are dead from high school.
I only know
well,
one.
the nice thing was I didn't peak in high school, so I never gave a shit about high school.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I was juvie in high school, so that wasn't my peak of my life. So I didn't.
Oh man, did I revel in it when the girls that peaked in high school and I see them now, it makes me laugh so hard.
I just feel sad for people that are like that. That they never got beyond that shit mentally or in any way. You meet so many people like it that everything's high school cliques, even in their 50s, and it's like, yeah, thanks anyway. I didn't like it in high school. What the fuck am I gonna like it 40 years later?
It's corporate America is high school basically.
I just like the
Yeah, I
times
hate that shit.
I just like the times I got in trouble and got caught doing shit.
Yeah, see, I kept getting in trouble and getting away with shit for an additional 30 years. I really didn't stop until 20 years ago. I can mark the day my daughter was born, my last daughter.
Well, I walked into school one day, hadn't smoked nothing before school. First class was study hall, so I actually went to study hall instead of pulling a late arrival.
Well, hey guys, I got other shit to do and talk about high school though.
Oh man.
So
I
I'll
was
call
gonna
it a
I
night
was gonna
and
change the
I'll
topic
talk
to.
at you guys later.
All right.
So we can change the subject.
Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about the first time you ever got high. And that would have been a great, thing with Mule too. And if anybody's still watching the chat, do you remember the first time you smoked weed?
Yes, I was at a friend's house. His kitchen sink had a drip in it, and they had a cat that was actually drinking the drip as it dripped out of the sink.
Okay.
They threw in a CD for music, and the first words out of the you could hear on the CD was "My mouth is dry," and I just fucking lost it. I could not stop laughing. They looked at me. What the hell are you laughing about? I just kind of pointed at the cat. I start the CD over. They started it over and heard it. Then everybody started laughing.
Yeah, but had your friend just had a joint laying around, or I mean, you just told
Oh,
us after the fact that you already were
no,
high.
actually, we chipped in and bought a bag, but back then it was cheap.
Right? How old?
13.
Okay, respectable age. No, that's fine. All right, 13. You went and scored yourself a dime bag or whatever.
Yeah.
Rolling up a joint, or did you
Oh,
smoke a bowl?
my buddy's older sister had a big bong,
Mm.
so we decided to try that out. That's why I was at his house.
First time I got high, I, I used to work at a swap meet, which you guys would call a flea market. And you meet people, and one of the people there sold weed, and I was like, okay, all right, maybe I'll try it once, And so it's about 30 minutes away from my house, and I have to drive home, and so I got these pre-rolled joints that he rolled, I guess. I think I got 3 of them for $10, and I smoke one before I go
Wow.
home, and I'm fucking paranoid the whole way home driving my car. There's a cop following me, because I heard that somewhere. So I might be over dramatizing that I think I'm paranoid because I heard I'd be paranoid. I don't know how that worked, but anyway, so I'm driving home all nervous as shit. And then I had smoked before and gotten busted for it because it smells, and I was worried that I was also going to get busted for the smell of pot with my mother. unbeknownst to me at the time, she has no idea what marijuana smells like, probably to this day. So but
My
the
mom
first
used
time I
to smell
wasn't
burnt
sure, right? Huh?
tires. My mom used to say, when I walk by, she go, "I smell burned tires or
Yeah,
something."
yeah, yeah. So yeah, my mom. The first time I'm like, oh, I'm freaking out. Mom's gonna bust me so bad, but she didn't. But she did make a comment like, man, it smells like burning, like weeds. Like
Yeah.
outside weeds or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Just went on, brushed my teeth, freaked the fuck out, and then I realized she didn't know what it smelled like. So after that, I was like, I'll smoke wherever I want. Smoke it in the greenhouse. Shit, she don't know.
Oh my gosh. I remember my first time too.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had been I was 13. I had been babysitting my brother's girlfriend's kids, and they were short on the payment, and I was like, well, I'd really like to have that money, and you guys been short a lot lately, and I was kind of pissed off about it and everything, and so Bub was like, all right, all right, all right. So I you know that I smoke weed and I've never let you have any. I was like, yeah, selfish bastard won't ever let me have any, right? And he was like, I'll roll up a joint just for you. And oh my gosh, it was awful. And I was so paranoid. I couldn't remember my phone number to call home because I had to call my mom and tell her that I was okay. I had to call in every hour. And I was like so paranoid that she was going to think there was something wrong with me or somehow smell it over the phone. I don't even know. Like, and I kept covering up the phone. I was like, I think she can smell it. He's just laughing his ass off at me. His girlfriend's laughing her ass off at me. I finally hang up the phone and I'm like, I can't go home. I just can't. I don't know how long I sat on the couch bewildered before I finally felt okay enough to drive home. But
Well, I don't know about any of you, but when the first, I don't get it anymore, which is really strange. But when I first smoked, all the way up until the early 2000s, and probably even into the 2000s, every time I'd smoke marijuana, I'd get this feeling going up my throat, like a pulsating, like somebody's doing this constantly, but on the inside of my throat, going up, 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 and I
Clear
fucking
your throat a
hated that
lot.
shit. Huh?
Try to clear your throat a lot, did you?
Maybe. But man, I hated that fucking feeling, and I don't get that anymore. But yeah, it was like this pulsating thing up my throat.
Yeah.
Hated it.
I've only had that a couple of times, Stinger, and I think it was like the garbage weed that did that.
Probably.
The old Mexican Mersh.
Probably. I mean, I have no idea the quality of the first few doses of weed that I ever partook in. You didn't ask, what kind of strain is this back in the 90s. There you go.
Holy crap, that's a big bud.
That's a little one.
Yeah, that's pretty small.
That's a
You
little
haven't,
one.
well, you haven't trimmed that yet, have you?
Yeah, that one's all 99% trimmed. A couple
Okay.
little pieces here. I just pick them off. It's dry enough.
Right on. Yeah, I told you his are all big because he does outside growing. So the whole small nugs or whatever, that's usually from indoor growing because those don't get nearly as much sunlight, is what I've been told.
My small nugs usually come further down the branch.
Right, yeah, because they get less sunlight. But
Yeah,
even your smallest looks like some of the indoor grow beds, some of their biggest. So your
that's
smallest are a lot bigger than their smallest because yours is still outside, gets better sun, right?
I need
well.
to go put the laundry in the dryer.
I got a fistful of the little ones right there.
Okay.
Let's see. Shit.
I'm just saying the sun does a better job lighting your garden
Yeah.
than somebody's grow lights do in a tent. And that
You
would
know,
affect the yield.
unless you're looking at a big yield, you just want to do a quick turnover. You don't even need it. You don't even need a tent.
Right, yeah. No, we discussed this. I'm thinking about it too, to be honest, because I'm tired of paying like half of what it would cost me to buy a grow tent kit, like with everything. So about $1,000. It's about that per month. So in 2 months worth of weed that I buy right now, I could set up my own grow tent and be making my own.
You don't even need the tent though. You got the grow lights already.
I got some grow lights, yeah.
You're not going to be growing a whole lot of plants, are you?
I have no idea, depending on the yield and stuff. I would love to be self sufficient where I don't have to buy it no more. But even if I could supplement it a little bit with some in home shit.
Well, the way to do it, if you've only got a couple of lights, put 3 plants. That gives you basically if you're doing the autoflower,
Right.
about every 92 days you're pulling a crop. So what you do is you start your seeds about halfway through the cycle. So technically you're going a month and a half between batches. That way you should be able to pull at least an ounce of plant off.
Right on.
Doing indoor like that.
Yeah, for us, it's, we just, an ounce a month would probably do us fine.
Well, like I said, you'd have your first crop wouldn't come in for 3 months, but after that, you just stagger them. Because if you're just putting little seedlings under flowering plants, it's no problem.
Right.
Once those plants finish, the seedlings will finish growing them up and start flowering them.
Hmm. Well, I have 2 grow lights. I have a pearlescent one, like it's a curly, like a pigtail kind of light, and then I have the other ones that I use for like a herb garden.
Yeah.
No, and then yeah, I do. I have those blue and purple ones. No, I have. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I got 3 of those, so I
You could,
definitely have some lights.
well, uh, out in the other room, I've got 2 sets of the 4-foot shop lights with the plant and aquarium bulbs in them.
Yeah,
The fluorescent shop lights
I
with the.
forgot that we had gotten new lights for this aquaponic setup that we had for bok choy that we never really utilized that well.
So I've got 4 of the 4-foot fluorescent tubes, 2 sets of lights, and then I've got 3. I think they're 16 by 16, 45-watt LED grow lights with the different colored LED lights in it, and that's all I use to get them vegging and to do my cloning.
What up, Patriot Rooster? I had to sneak off to be able to watch. Well, thank you for being here, dude. This is just the top type of, or the time where we just bullshit, though. So you're at the best part. We talking about the first time we ever got high. Let me know what. How old were you? Who got the weed? And how'd you smoke it? You have to go
I
back
remember,
and see our
I
streams.
remember the first time I smoked some really good creeper weed.
Oh yeah. The hell is creeper weed?
It's this shit. You smoke it till you're high. Take about 3 more hits, so you got a fairly decent buzz going.
Right.
About 20 minutes later, it'll sneak up and grab you.
Oh yeah, I've had a few strains that'll do that a
It,
little bit.
it totally fucking cripple you and have you drooling all over yourself for a
Yeah,
couple hours.
yeah. I think I've had a few of those already.
I
I
had
don't
a
know what they
buddy
were
of
called.
Milo that used to grow that. And Milo's about a 45-minute drive away.
Right.
And I smoked some with him up to his place. I was almost home. I was like 5 miles from home. And all of a sudden, I went from 50 to about 30 driving down the road. just stoned right off my ass.
Yeah,
and
I
just
did that
snapped
in
right
my
up and
truck
grabbed it.
once. I was driving. I smoked a little too much. Got in the truck, thought, boy, I'm really high. Maybe I should think about this. And then the next thing I know, it's 4 in the morning. I'm like, oh shit, I just done passed out in my truck. I'm glad no cop came here and, gave me shit. Woke up, was able to get the fuck out of there, no problem.
Well, I knew once I got out of Milo, I was all set.
Excuse.
They're, the only cops you get once you get out of Milo are either sheriff's deputies or stadies.
Oh, you have a private conversation going on with Patriot Rooster right now? Oh, okay. Did you go with the deuce excuse and then cause pooping? LMAO, shooting the shit is always awesome. I have never been high. Wow, I'm saddened for you. Never interested me until Riddle was talking to me about it for my pain. Now I'm curious about it. Well, if you have
It,
pain,
it does work wonders for pain.
I would definitely go and this is just my opinion. But if you're more in for it for the pain, I'd say go with a 1-to-1 ratio CBD versus THC, right? Or something with a higher CBD ratio.
Yeah, add some extra CBD into it. But I, like I said, I broke my back 18 years ago. Well, the date would be today.
Mm.
But it was the day before Thanksgiving that year. So
Well, I had hip pain when I was probably, I think I was like 420, 430 pounds. And I was getting really bad hip pain. And at the time, it wasn't legal. It was medically illegal, I think, here. And then Riddle had, or Tactical Nugs had a friend who was trying to get into the medical game. So he had all these different strains and he'd sell us to us on the side. So that was our weed hookup for a while. And yeah, I noticed, because I was on all these medications, and that was the only thing that took away that pain, the hip pain. Luckily, I don't have that now, so or I'm just curing it.
well, like I said, I broke my back 18 years ago, and it's the only thing I use for pain. I was on Oxycontin 40s there for a
Ooh,
while.
yeah, I would much prefer marijuana over any narcotic.
Yeah.
I had to take narcotics recently for some issues. It
Well,
just
they,
made
they
me
gave me
sick.
the place I was at. We didn't have medical marijuana here at the time yet. And, well, hell, that place is still dead set against it anyway. But they gave me the choice. You're either gonna give up pot or you're gonna lose your pain meds. I looked at him and he said, well, you might as well take the damn pain meds. I says, I don't like the way they make me feel anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be on pain meds a little bit. I don't know if I was technically hooked or not, but I definitely took them for recreation back in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, I suppose. And then my girl at the time, and I started because the girl I was with at the time was into taking them a lot. She was a drug seeker, and at the time, I was helping her out. I eventually got a conscience after we had a kid, and we're dragging this kid around to hospital after hospital after hospital, trying to get her medications, because she needs her fix. So we eventually had a falling out, but at one point I had taken them because they made me feel good. The last time I took a narcotic, oh man, did it not make me feel good. And if I don't have to take a narcotic nowadays, I ain't gonna take a narcotic nowadays.
Like I said, well, when I broke my ankle at the hospital, all they gave me for pain at the hospital was a 400 milligram ibuprofen. And hell, I take 800 of the milligrams here just to get rid of a headache.
Right.
And that broken ankle hurt like hell.
Patriot Rooster's got a damn spinal cord stimulator put in my back to help, and this thing sucks donkey. Sick. So because this is my back, they won't give me any pain med. Oh, dude, I would try it. I would at least try
Yeah,
it.
try it.
You got to give it about a month, right? It's not an instant thing. It's got to build up. The
The CBD part does, but if you go with a little bit higher THC and go with the edible CBD, like some of those gummies that you can buy in the store and shit, the THC the THC would help eliminate, knock some of the pain down.
really, you
More
talking, nobody's listening. Go
the
ahead, hon.
THC,
Hold on, Gerald. Hold on. What did you want to say?
I was just trying to say that even though marijuana is not legal in his state, he should still be able to get a CBD pain stick at his local Walmart or Walgreens or whatever.
Yes, you can get a CBD pain stick at a Walgreens easy enough, and it's just a rub on location.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know how great that's going to do you, but it's a start, and you can pick it
Brenda's
up
got
anywhere.
Brenda's got some stuff upstairs. She got at the dispensary. It's high in CBD, but it's also got THC in it, and it's the rub-on cream.
Hmm.
And she's got arthritis in her hands and her knees, and she'll rub that on, and she swears by it.
Well, I definitely don't think it's just the CBD. I think it's got to be a combination. Now,
It's,
obviously, I
that
think it's more CBD than THC, but
yeah, but
when I was
that's
just doing CBD straight, it didn't affect me as much as when I was doing both.
yeah. Well, the THC is the part that gets you high. The CBD is the part that don't.
Right.
So therefore, you need some of the part that gets you high to really activate the part that doesn't.
And see, everybody's different. Tactical Nugs is explaining her experience with CBD rub-on sticks and how it actually helps her. So it didn't really help me, but it helped her. It might help you. It might not.
Like I said, the stuff Brenda's got with the THC in it really helps.
Right
But
on.
it's also high in CBD. So, and actually, we've got some in here from. Let me see if it's still in the refrigerator.
All right. I can't believe Patriot Rooster never got. Well, you should run for political office. Shit. You got a better pass than most of the politicians.
No, it's not in the fridge. I think Brenda threw it.
No.
This was it was made with coconut oil, and if you left it out, it turned back into a liquid oil. And if you put it in the fridge, the damn thing would about go rock solid.
Yeah, don't
So
pee in that. Come on now. Sorry, that just came in as clear as day.
someone Chelsea's bitching at her little brother about his pull up.
None of my business. Just hilarious.
Oh yeah. But hell, I've seen it, the young one there, the boy.
Yeah.
Last summer, we were down at Old Orchard Beach at the amusement park down there, and kids walking through says, "Fuck this shit." I kind of looked at Brenda, and she looked back at me. And, did he just say what I think he said? She goes, "If you think he said, well, fuck this shit," and she goes, "Yeah, that's what he said." I've seen Chelsea call her mother a fucking bitch. So.
Yeah, kids. What are you gonna do? My daughter has been like, out of all the hurtful things anybody has ever said to me, my daughter has hit me the hardest from all of them. And
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. I guess it's your kids, right? But like that shit cuts deep.
Oh, what I used to love was Chelsea's line whenever she'd get mad at you. Well, I'm not your friend anymore.
Yeah.
No good. I didn't want to be your friend anyway. Maybe damn grandparents will deal with
No, my daughter learned from the best. She knows what cuts you hard.
it.
She'll go after shit that, been bothering you since middle school or some shit. This is why you didn't get a date until you're 23. So, like, fuck, I'm sensitive about that shit.
Oh hell, if Chelsea knew that shit, she'd use it too.
Mm-hmm. It's vicious.
She's still calling him baby Brian. The kid 5 years old.
At least upgrade him to toddler. Come on, toddler
Yeah.
Brian. Baby is a lot easier to
Well,
say.
what about the younger one, James? He's only 19 months.
Call him little. Little.
We didn't want the younger one. He's like, no, I'm not dealing with him. He don't like me.
So how close does all your family live, Gerald?
My brother's about 7.5 miles away. Jenny is 12.5 miles away.
That's not bad at all.
And the rest, about 60% of them are within like a 25, 30 mile circle a year.
So you guys lived in Maine all your life.
Pretty much.
Right on.
I was born in East Hartford.
Connecticut.
Both of my parents were from Maine. And when my dad became disabled, he was working for Colts Firearms.
That's cool.
And when they told him he wouldn't be able to go back to work and shit, he looked at my mom and said, "Hey, let's move back to Maine." So that's what they did.
So what are your
Well,
winter activities involved since it's getting closer to winter?
well, back when I was younger, I used to snowmobile a lot, but
Yeah.
can't afford one now. Too many bills.
Well, I mean, once you have one, don't you keep it running for a good long while? I mean, what happened to your last one? Why don't you have one right now already?
See, my last one just kind of fucking blew up.
Oh, you can't get another lawnmower engine to put on that thing?
No, those are 2 cycle.
Okay. What about ice
I,
fishing? You ever do any ice fishing?
I love ice fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time.
Now, the only ice fishing that I know of is what I've seen in TV shows. Red Green comes to mind, if you know who I'm talking about. Never struck me as something I would want to do, sitting there freezing my balls off. Now, I've heard, though, that there are some ice fishing setups that are like heated and all cushy, and you got like TV and internet and shit out there.
Well, you can make them as cushy as you want, but 90% of the ice shacks you see out on a lake around here are something somebody went out in the garage. They had a bunch of
Plywood.
bullshit materials laying around, some fucking old panels, some 2x3s.
Right.
The wind's blowing 30 miles an hour that day, and the air temperature's 10 below. They're sticking up a quick shelter to do whatever they can do, and if they got one of them little buddy heaters that goes in it, or
Right. Okay.
oh yeah, so it ain't all that bad. Hell, we used to go camping out there all the time. My cousin used to have an ice shack.
So, what are you mainly fishing when you ice fishing?
Usually it's trout and salmon.
Okay.
Sometimes it's lake trout, and well, if we're fishing overnight, then who the hell knows what we're gonna catch?
The only other thing I know you can do there that's, activity wise, well, there's ice hockey and then there's hunting season, right?
Yeah,
So,
there's cross country skiing, there's downhill skiing.
Yeah, fuck the skiing. Nobody wants to ski. That's a recreational thing. Snowmobiling
Snowshoeing.
is, well, I mean, yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
snowshoe is just hiking, taking a long time to get there because
Yeah, in the fucking
you're taking
cold.
such small steps.
I would hate to do that. I want to be warm when I'm doing an activity, man. The last thing I want to do is
Just
freeze to
for
death. Yeah, that was the
layers.
problem. Well, that and being at my heaviest
You
at the
you
time in
you you'll
Wisconsin.
you'll get so many layers on all of a sudden. You'll feel something like the Michelin Man.
Yeah, I just never, I could never stay warm living in Wisconsin, man. I hated it.
90% of it's just get a decent hat. You can keep your head and your ears warm.
Well, I always would slip and fall and break something. Man, I got
Well,
stories on that shit every fucking year, at least once.
the only time I've slipped and fallen broke something was the last winter.
Yeah.
I ain't saying I haven't slipped and fallen a lot, but I never broke nothing till last winter.
Yeah, no, I've broken way too many things. I think I might have brittle bones. I need to get a bone doctor to check me out or something. What up, Walter Davis? How are you doing? Walter
How you
Davis,
feeling?
have you ever smoked marijuana? If so, please insert into chat the first time. How old were you? Who bought the weed? And how'd you smoke it? Like, joint, blunt, bong. And how was it, trying to hide it afterwards if you did hide it? That's tonight's question of the day. I think I'm going to implement that. I'm going to have one question that we're going to grill everybody on. First time you did this.
Hell, for me, it was easy to hide it.
Yeah.
My mom had to be at work at 5:30 in the morning. She was in bed by 9 o'clock. I just make sure I didn't get home till 9:30, 10.
Right. There you go.
She was already in bed.
I will try that. Says Patriot Rooster. I got to the new pain doc January 5th. I hope they can help me give me a card and can try something. Cool. I hope it helps, bro. It can't hurt. It's nature's medicine. It's recreational. Good time
I
having.
I
Hey.
was reading somewhere in order to overdose on this stuff, you'd have to smoke something like 143 pounds in 14 minutes.
Oh,
I don't
where's
think it's
Cheech and
possible.
Chong? You know you gotta light up that movie. Come on.
Oh yeah.
You gotta
Hey,
light up that
hey
movie. I want to
man,
see that bong
what
on film.
what kind of
Or that,
pot is
that
this,
joint.
man?
I want to see that
It,
joint
it,
on
it's
film.
it, it's a Labrador, man. Labrador, yeah. My dog got my stash. Took me almost a week to get it back.
Hey, Stinger, Gerald, Nugs, Rooster, Sparks, Riddle. What up, Walter? Did you hear my question earlier, Walter?
Walter.
We're going to need to know. Oh, yeah, I was probably 14. Someone had some crappy homegrown, put me to sleep, never got into it after that. Yeah, I can see why. After the first time I smoked it, I was like, well, I got to at least smoke the rest of it because I ain't going to waste my money. But I didn't like it, and I didn't touch it again for a couple years, actually. And then it was just peer pressure after that until I became an adult, and then I didn't smoke for a few more years, so I take it and I leave it whenever I feel like. It just helps that it's legalized, so now I don't have to worry about finding a dealer. I don't have to worry about getting busted for some bullshit, right? I can just go to the store and buy some. Like I was buying, well, cigarettes, I guess, because, you still have to show ID and shit, but I ain't on no list. So I can still, honestly answer my little form that you have to fill out anytime you purchase some things that are guaranteed by amendments in the Constitution.
Well, my mom's younger sister moved to Maine from Connecticut, and she says she was a fairly heavy pot smoker. Well, I pulled out a bag one day to roll up a joint, and she goes, "Well, hey, what you got?" I said, "Some stuff I grew up out to the house. Oh, she goes, it's only homegrown. She goes, oh, that can't be that good. I smoked the joint with her and about fucking crippled her. She did not know which way was up. Sitting there fucking drooling on herself and everything else. I looked at her and says, hey, Debbie, what's the matter? I said, it's only homegrown. It can't be that good.
Get this. Walter Davis says, Walter Davis, I got served at 14 at a liquor store and bars. 14, did you look like you were of age, which was probably 18 at the time? Did you look like you were that old, or did they just, look the other way? Okay.
He was in England.
I could get a case of cheap beer for a couple bucks and not get in trouble. If you were underage caught, you'd get in trouble. Probably not nearly as much trouble as marijuana, which is stupid if you think about it, but it is what it is.
Well, when I first got my driver's license up here in Maine, the old driver's licenses before they changed everything around, they they had a little blue stripe on the top of the license where it says state of Maine driver's license if you were of drinking age. If you were under the drinking age, you had a red stripe across it. Well, the day I got my license, they'd run out of the red stripe, so they just gave me a blue stripe one. They did that to me and two or three of my friends. And 90% of the places you went to, they just look for that color stripe. If you had the right color stripe, they assumed you were of age.
All right. Walter would go in at lunchtime when they were busy. So they didn't know you. They just didn't card you because fuck,
They're too
you're
busy to
close
waste their
enough. Get them
time.
out of here.
I walked into one store one night. The guy carded me at the store. And the only reason that guy carded me was there was a Bangor cop walking in behind me. Well, walking in as I was getting ready to pay for it. He goes, oh, you got your ID? I pulled my driver's license out and handed it to him. He seen it had the blue line on it. When he handed it back to me, he made sure the cop seen the blue line when he handed it back to me. Paid for my beer, picked it up, and walked out. I was 17. Drinking age at the time was 20.
Hey man, I think we're getting into next week's question. We should wait on our drinking stories for now. We'll wait until next Friday for that one.
I got too many of them.
Right? He was
I've
also
always
very scruffy. That helped. Yes. If you can grow a beard at 14 and you look, that's a quick easy in and easy out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to grow facial hair for a very long time. I had low T, uh, something a lot of people don't know, and I was on hormone treatments for that for a while until I was like, "Fuck this! I don't want to do this anymore" because it was literally a pain in the ass, uh, and a lot of money. So I decided to stop doing that. But yeah, no, I was clean cut until I was probably 28. Saved money on razors, so that was cool.
I really didn't start shaving, I think, till I was like 18.
Yeah.
But I've always been a big boy, so
Same. Oh yeah, definitely been a big kid. I was normal until I was 9, I guess. That's what I've been told, but I don't really remember much from 9 plus, before 9.
I was always a little fat kid.
Yeah, it
Hell,
became that
by,
way.
by the time I got into junior high, I was right around 220 pounds.
I think it might have been that we moved to Maricopa. So when I was a kid, we lived in Mesa in a trailer park. And, I had friends and I would run around the trailer park and do whatever. I don't remember much of it, but I remember the trailer park enough. And then when we moved to Maricopa, that was out in the middle of fucking nowhere, dude. It was at least a mile and a half to the nearest neighbor. And if I wanted to go see my friend, it was a 2 mile walk there, 2 mile walk back. I ended up just staying inside. It was the fucking desert. It's 120 degrees outside. I want to stay inside where it's nice and cool, watch Knight Rider. Fuck you. Right? And so I just developed a healthy app. Oh, and my mom can't cook worth shit, right? So meanwhile, I'm trying to cook the most unhealthiest, tastiest things that I can find that are in her kitchen, which is a pain in the ass. But I figure out, some ways to make some things taste really good. So I'm, just sitting there watching TV, eating, and sure enough, I'm gaining weight, and that's kind of how that started. But I don't remember being thin.
Actually, the thinnest I've been since high school, I went down to 189 about 18 years ago, right when I broke my back.
Yeah.
I was at 330 when I broke my back. About 8 weeks. Cookie, shut up.
I'm just gonna put my very high quality headphones a little bit further away from my ears.
Chelsea, open the door, let her out. Nope, Angel wants out. Princess wants out, but she's got to be hooked up. She'll run off. The other two won't run off for long. Princess, she'll take off, and who knows how long she'll be gone. We lost her one time Thanksgiving afternoon, and we didn't get her back till like January 6th. When she left, she probably went about 120 pounds. When we got her back, she weighed 29.
Jeez.
Now
How
she's
many
back
acres,
up.
if you don't mind? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I understand. But how big is your area there?
My lot's just a little 2.2 acre lot.
Oh, okay. So you in the suburbs?
Not really. She's kind of country. Like my next door neighbor Marge, there was two 2-point lots next to mine when I bought this one. I could have bought all three if I'd had the money, but she bought those two lots, and she built kind of more onto the lot that was next to mine. But she's an older woman. She's like 71, 72 now, and she's cool as hell.
Right on.
My dog, little girl, this one it's laying here. She goes over to Marge's house every day and visits with her all day. Comes home around 8, 9 o'clock at night. First thing in the morning when we let her out, she'll go out, she'll go pee. She'll run next door, and if Marge ain't home, she'll give it about a half hour, and then she'll come back and bark at the door for us to let her in. Then every time she goes out, she runs over there till she gets home. Once she's home, we don't see her till, like I said, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Marge has got a dog bed in the living room for the dog, and she feeds her lunch and supper every day.
Where's the tea?
What's up, Lance Corporal Veteran? How you doing?
Right there. Nope, not that one.
Hold up. Lance Corporal Veteran, the question of the day, if you've ever been high, when was the first time you got high? And how old were you? Who bought it? How'd you smoke it? In what? And
How much was it?
oh, how much was it? Shit, I don't even remember. I think mine was $10 for 3 joints. So
Hell, when I first started smoking, I could buy a quarter ounce for $5. Quarter ounce was called a nickel.
Yeah.
Back then. An ounce, we used to call it a lid. That was like $20.
$20 an ounce, dude. I'm paying like $200 an ounce right now.
Well, I can remember when it made the first big jump. First it made a small jump.
I didn't even try it yet.
It went from like $5 for a quarter ounce up to like $12.50. And then all of a sudden, a buddy of mine got killed, and he was one of the bigger drug dealers in the area.
I'm gonna go to bed.
So right after he died, the prices freaking skyrocketed. It went to $35 for an eighth of pot. And it's like, what the hell's a half nickel eighth? What the fuck's this shit?
Lance Corporal Veteran, does a pitcher of cocktail mix of energy drinks count? No, it doesn't count. If you didn't smoke it, that's all right. I am surprised. We have a couple people in the chat now that have never smoked marijuana. Very interesting.
They
Politics
don't know what they're
might be,
missing.
well, you know what? It is what it is. Everybody, and a lot of people, they don't do it for a couple of reasons. Some people just don't like it. I was in that camp for a long time. Some people don't like it because of what they've heard on the media. There's always that stigma. Some people don't like it for other reasons. It's not legal. I only
Yeah.
do the legal drugs. So there's
The only
different
reason
reasons.
it's not, the only reason it's not legal is because DuPont come up with a friggin' chemical to break down the wood fiber to make paper with.
All right.
And they wanted to corner the market, and they had to get rid of the hemp fiber to do it.
Yeah.
So DuPont spent millions of dollars to ban marijuana.
Can't believe it, man. It's a fucking plant that grows naturally. We're gonna deem it.
It's a weed.
Yeah. There's a reason why it's called that. I've had morphine. I bet you that was good. I don't know if I've had morphine. I've had some pretty powerful shit. Let me just
I've
say
had
that.
morphine that didn't do nothing.
They put me on this one drug that I felt my body filling up with a fluid of joy. Is my best
Yeah.
way of describing it. It was a fluid of joy, and I felt it started my lower legs and slowly rise up my legs until it got into my groin, which was like, it was almost like when you're going into a pool that's a little bit cold, and those certain zones that are a little bit more sensitive to the
Yeah.
cold than others. It was kind of like that as it was traveling up my fucking body, and it gets past my nipples. I'm like, ooh, and then it goes up my head, and then I'm just like in total euphoria, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And let me have more of it.
I like it when you're smoking a pot to do that.
Yeah. Well, I've seen my brain waves the one time I ate edibles and then smoked a bowl, and they both kicked in at about the same time. I can't get high from weed. It gives me stomach cramps and a headache. Really? Wow. That sucks. You should try edibles. Probably give that a go. I
Okay,
actually prefer them.
the stomach cramps are referred to as the munchies. Eat something that'll take care of those. Well, remember the old Yahoo chat rooms?
Yeah, kind of vaguely. It's been a minute.
Yeah, oh, it's been a long time. Well, I was in the gun cabinet one day. There was some lady said she was a prison guard somewhere in Alabama or something, and she was out of work because she'd had surgery done on her wrist for carpal tunnel, and she was basically taking Vicodin for it. And she was bitching about how her stomach was doing the flip flops and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Told her to go make 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, heavy on the peanut butter, and have a glass of milk with it. She tried it. She came back. She came back about 10 minutes later. She goes, "Hey, that worked." She goes, "How'd you know that cure?" Well, my screen name at the time was Green Bud Smoker, so I said, "Look at my screen name." I says, "You have what you had what I refer to as the munchies."
Yeah, it might be. It might be. Lance Corporal Veteran says morphine's a hell of a drug. Male nurse pulled it out of his pocket like a user said, "Here's something to calm you," and later woke up, told the other nurse, "I want more." Yeah, I'll tell you what, you won't be able to shit for a week though. That's a
Morphine
problem
never
that
did nothing.
dude, that is something you just do not want.
I've been hit with so much morphine it never did nothing.
Really?
I'll tell you one thing that really kicked my ass was that Dilaudid.
That's probably the one that I had when it was racing my body. Because I
They,
don't think they gave me morphine at that one, but it was supposed to just calm my nerves. It wasn't. It didn't even put me out. So I was enjoying that euphoria feeling for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before they put me out.
yeah. Well, when I first broke my back, they had me on on a pump with that. I had my own push button.
Oh hell yeah, give me that.
Well, I could hit the button up to 3 times, and then the third time I hit it, the machine would reset for 15 minutes before I could hit it again. Well, hell, if I wanted to go to sleep,
All
the
right.
third hit, I'd say good night. But hell, I was only on that for a day and a half. The doctor said I wasn't using a third of what he thought I'd be using.
I'm just glad that I'm not hooked on any of that shit. As I said, I've said this a few times. My ex died of an overdose of what was it? Synthetic heroin. No, not fentanyl clinic. Which,
Yeah, it was probably the fentanyl.
yeah. So she'd been a user for shortly after we had met. Like she had shunted hydrocephalus. She was born with water on the brain, so they had to have a shunt put in from her brain to her stomach to drain the excess fluids, right? And all growing up, she was pretty decently okay, but every once in a while she'd get a migraine, and she'd have to deal with it. Well, when I first met her, she had these same issues. Every once in a while, she'd have a migraine, and
Okay,
she'd
bro.
take like ibuprofen for it or whatever. And then eventually, they instead of giving her ibuprofen, they gave her Vicodin,
Yep,
and
that's the start of it.
it took it away immediately, right? And it made her feel good, and she got hooked pretty quick. We had our
Yep.
daughter together pretty quick as well, and then shortly after the birth of my daughter, because she didn't want to be on drugs when she was pregnant, but pretty much as soon as she birthed our kid, she started, going down that path.
Well, hell, in the hospital, she got Percocet after that, didn't she?
Hmm.
Start off with Vicodin, move up to Percocet, and keep on going.
So there we are. It's getting worse and worse. Now they're starting to not give her these drugs anymore. For some reason, they were fine with giving it to her for a while, but now they decide that they're not going to give it to her anymore.
Because
So
they
we
figured out she was doctor shopping.
no, not at the time. I'm just saying the first time, right? The first time, this is how it worked. She got prescribed these things. She took as prescribed. She got prescribed a second time, took as prescribed, third time even, right? And then all of a sudden, she goes in there for the same thing. She's been going in there for about 4 or 5 different times now. Months have gone by. Now all of a sudden she can't have it. Why? Because you just had some. Oh, but I need it. Well, you can't have it. Okay, well, when can I have it? A couple weeks. Now she can't get it for a couple weeks. Now she's going to a different doctor, right? And that's where it started going. And it was probably a year or two. Yeah, my kid was about 2 years old when we're spending a day going to different counties and different cities and different hospitals because we've already made our rounds on these, and now some of them are starting to talk, right? So now she's getting put on lists, and I'm like, hey, my daughter is starting to talk. She doesn't want to. She already knows that when she grows up, she wants to be a doctor so she can help mommy. And I'm not comfortable with this anymore. She is growing up in a hospital, and I'm not taking you. Meanwhile, my best friend and his wife were having relationship issues. She had cheated on him, and I was a bros before hoes. So I'm like, hey, bro, why don't you come stay with us while you figure your shit out with your relationship and stuff like that. And he's like, all right, cool. And so I'm working at a cab job. She's unemployed, I think, and I've already told her I ain't taking her to no hospital anymore. But she's seeming kind of nice lately, and yeah, find out that he's taken her to the different hospitals now looking for drugs. And now she's going to leave me for him. And I'm like, what? He comes up to me later on and says, well, aren't you glad it was a friend and not some stranger? I'm like, motherfucker, you're so lucky that I'm not going to fucking kick your ass right now. I didn't, because I was still trying to make a decent impression because I was hoping we could work it out because we have a kid together. But the nerve on that guy, man, I tell you what. So his wife and him split. They left for each other. Me and his wife at the time, you know, now that they're getting a divorce or whatever, we're talking about how bullshit this whole situation was. We hooked up for a little hanky panky eventually at some point and then moved on. And then we got back together later on. We've been together ever since. So that's tactical nugs. Lance Corporal speechless. Some Jerry Springer shit. Yeah, some CPS was called here and there. You know. I don't have fond memories of Wisconsin. I mean, I do have some fond memories of Wisconsin, but there's a lot of shit, man. That whole custodies and like I got custody of my daughter eventually. It took her driving her two kids. I only have one with her. It involved her driving her two kids. Actually, no, they weren't in the car. No. She drove. Luckily, she didn't have the kids in the car. Sorry, she did not have the kids in the car. But she drove head first into a train. Like, she had stopped at the train crossing. And then, I guess, probably had a seizure, which she's not supposed to be driving because she has seizures. And so she had driven into the train. That got CPS involved, not my doing.
I had to deal with the freaking insurance claim on that bullshit because that was my car that she wrecked.
Oh, yeah. That was before we were together. So I don't remember that being her vehicle. I just remember that being a vehicle that she drove into a train.
Two vehicles together. We had a shitty-ass Ford Taurus, which was my car. Right. And then we had a nicer Buick, which still wasn't great, but it was nicer. And that was his car.
It wasn't a Ford Taurus. Nice.
Both cars were in both of our names. At this point, he and I are still married, but he has let this bitch drive my car. All right? And so at this point, him and I have hooked up once. And
best 30 seconds of your life.
She must have enjoyed it. She went back.
Said, well, when did you wreck the car? I said, I didn't wreck the car. And they're like, well, they said it was a female driving, and you're the only registered female to drive the car. I was like, not me. Who was driving my car? I call an ex. What's going on? Here's what happened. Apparently, she had already stopped. The gates were down. Yada yada yada. Right? She has a seizure. Starts like grand mal head banging seizure, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen one of them.
The gas, and then like luckily the train was going pretty slow, but stopped the gas and then drove the car into the side of the train.
And she's not supposed to be driving.
No.
I mean, she has seizures. And I've had to deal with those. Those are scary as shit. I'll tell you what. My God, those are scary as fuck. But, so that got CPS called on her because of that. And she had another kid with this other guy that she was with, not her ex, because I guess they had split up at that point. Mm-hmm. And then she endangered him. I forget how she endangered him, but
they were in a supervised visit with your daughter and him and her. Mm. And she had been using, and I don't know how she got past the P test, but
yeah, I'll tell you.
She went and got in a swing and then like dropped him like right on his head. Mm.
So it wasn't because my daughter was probably.
She was like 5 or something.
Yeah, she was 5 or 6.
Oh, a piss test is easy to pass.
Yeah. Well, my daughter was like 5 or 6 years old, and so the CPS wasn't as concerned about her as they were about her brother or half brother. Because he's an infant, he can't really be taken care of, which was bullshit in my view. Because hello, my daughter's still pretty young and impressionable, and she's around they had gone to their house. They saw the living conditions. They're shitting in a 5-gallon bucket. Ask me how I know you can make a 5-gallon bucket into a shitter. You
They've
know,
been doing it for
they
years.
were doing it in a closet. I mean, this place was a sty. It should have been condemned. I've seen lesser places on the show Hoarders. It was that fucking bad. It was disgusting. And like my daughter's entrapped in this shit eventually because of luckily her infant brother, we were able to win custody of my daughter. And that whole thing started a war with her side of the family. They've hated me since, and they definitely made my life a living hell every chance they've gotten, including recently. So, fuck them. Wisconsin, man.
Uh, I watched my stepson play with Child Protective Services over drugs and shit. Oh, it was a fucking big fucking game for them.
Oh, the last time CPS was called on me, I was so proud because I learned my rights since those days, boy.
And,
I'm like, you come a foot on my property without my permission, I'll consider that shit trespassing unless you got a warrant, and I know you don't. So unless you got a warrant and you're gonna come on here and arrest me, you better get the stepping.
well, they were giving Brenda some shit because of our pot bust.
I got 40 fucking acres. You know how many places I can
Yeah,
I
you
can
know,
pop
place like
out of?
you know how many places I can make your body disappear? There's a lot of old discontinued logging roads around. And about
The
every,
new me
and,
was so, wishing the old me would have known that shit back then.
and then hell, just the other day, some hunter found a skeleton just in Augusta.
Really.
Yeah, about 600 yards off behind some big fucking business down there. And guess Augusta PD knew right who it was right off quick.
I had 40 acres. I no longer do. Well, I didn't really have it. I lived on it for a time. Yeah, it was nice. It was off grid. Extremely off grid, though, unfortunately. There's reasons why, if I still had the chance, I wouldn't be able to take it now. Medically, I can't live in high elevation, and that was like 7,000 feet almost. So that would have killed me right there, living up there. There's no way I could live up there. But at the time, I didn't know that. At the time, I didn't have that condition, I think. Uh, Anyway, yeah, we lived up in northern Arizona in Ash Fork, 40 acres, all off grid. The only on grid stuff that we had is we have propane delivered twice a year at $1,000 a delivery. Fucking expensive. And then we had our water trucked in because you couldn't drill a well because the water shelf was like a quarter of a mile down. And there was only 2 wells in the entire town, both of which cost like more than $1 million to drill. It was just crazy expensive, right? So nobody had a well. So we had rain catchment roof, and we were catching water, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to add to that. We'd gone into this deal with my mother, uh, where we would pay 2/3 of the rent, or not rent, mortgage, and we would both own the land. And we would own the house, and she had a trailer she was going to live in, and she would live in that, and we would live in our house. At 40 fucking acres, man. You can live on one side, I'll live on the other. It's fine by me. I already have the house suite. It's already got solar that I thought it had. The solar was shit, absolute shit. The batteries couldn't hold a charge worth shit. So we ended up replacing that. Luckily, with money that I got because I broke my ankle, we had insurance that paid for my broken ankle, and Tactical Nugs had gotten Aflac as well. So Aflac paid us, and the insurance paid the bill. So it was all money in pocket. I was able to go ahead and buy the solar panels. So after I bought the solar panels, we were rocking, man. It was really nice. Unfortunately, we had some disagreements with my mother on our our deal. We had made verbal deal, not a actual contract, which I thought about doing, and she agreed to. But she said that if she reneged on her part of the deal and I left, she wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage. So no way was she going to renege on the deal. I was like, you know what, you're right. You're my ma. Let's go ahead and save ourselves the time and hassle with a lawyer. Let's just do a verbal agreement. Well, she decided she wasn't going to leave. Is because she was living in the house because she had an excuse why she couldn't live in her trailer right away, and so she had to stay in the house for a while. And then her trailer was better, but it wasn't good enough, and all these excuses kept coming up why she couldn't move out of the house. And I'm trying to pin her down on a time. You've been living in this house for 9 months. I'm done. You know, the whole idea was you had a piece of land and I had a piece of land, and we paid most of the thing because we had the house, and she wasn't living up to that. So I told her, either you got to live up to it or I'm out. That was the whole plan, right? Come up with a time when you think you'll have your trailer ready. You can stay here for another 3 months if at the end of that 3 months you are now living in your trailer full time. Oh, I can't live in it full time even then. I'm like, what the fuck? Why not? Well, I'm still gonna have to come in here to use the bathroom and other things. I'm like, why? You can't use the bathroom in your trailer. Well, it's so small, and just what kind of mother would I be to raise a son that wouldn't even let his own mother go into the bathroom in his house? And I just, at this point, and she's nitpicking like I left without telling her where I was going. She got all over my ass for that shit. I'm a grown ass fucking man. I haven't answered to you in 20 fucking years, right? So I'm like, fine, if you can't come up with a time that you're out and in your own trailer, via our agreement, then I'm out of this deal. And she couldn't, and so we were out of the deal. And then I had to take the solar panels with me because shit, I paid for those motherfuckers because I had to get money in order to move. So we had to
Yeah.
sell them for, I think well, we got like $2,000 worth of moving expenses out of them and like 25 extra spending dollars.
Mm.
But the dream was there. We had a garden started. We had like 2 acres fenced off where the house was, and then we had another 38, almost 40 acres that had fencing as well. But it was all cattle land, and
Watson.
the cattle had knocked down our fence, so we were gonna have to fix that. Luckily, we didn't have to because it wasn't our problem after that. But I was also recovering a broken ankle and really, really heavy at the time. It was probably 440 pounds at the time, so wasn't really getting around too well. And then once I got pulmonary hypertension, which is a death sentence, uh, they say living in high altitude makes it worse. So, as I said, it's a good thing that I don't live up there anymore, but I do miss some of it. I don't miss the drive to the house. It's a 5 mile dirt road, and I'm not talking a nice dirt road. No, I'm not even talking one that's kind of graded and no, I'm talking off fucking road, river rocks, fucking creeks sometimes that are flooded and sometimes aren't. Those commercials where they show those off-road vehicles doing those fucking cool things, 5 fucking miles of that shit. Meanwhile, you got cows everywhere too, which is hilarious. And oh my god, being that heavy, you get pinched when you're driving. My balls get pinched. They come up, they go under my legs somehow, and they get pinched. And my dick sometimes goes in there and gets pinched, and my rolls are getting pinched in my belt, and those fucking hurts.
Sting,
Meanwhile,
why do you think I drive an SUV? Because
right?
that's the way these roads are up here.
Meanwhile, I also had a hernia I didn't even know about at the time, which was adding to the pain. Right, so I absolutely hated these roads. I wanted to get me a Ford Raptor, so bad. Let's see. Rain catchment works best at lower elevation. Also, you need to build ponds like terraces on hillside. Yep. We were all over that. We most of the acreage was downhill of the house, so our house is up on a hill. Everything else has to come up to it. Tactical advantage. I'm telling you, man. I had this shit ready to go, but yeah, we were planning on the rain catchment and going downhill quite a bit, and we were going to add to the solar panels. I am taking my new solar panels and batteries. Mom fucked up. Yeah, mom fucked up. Well, she thought I was in the wrong. She was going to call the cops. You can't take that, she said. I'm like, excuse me, I bought them. I brought them here. I can take them with me. And she was saying that I had them permanently installed, and I was like, no, the only thing I had permanently installed was the fixture. The panels are not permanently installed. And you can go ahead and call your cops, but if I go into a rental property that I rent and I bring in a new dishwasher, as long as I keep the old dishwasher and I can take the new one that I brought into this place, I can take that with me when I leave. It's the same fucking thing. And I didn't want to do that, right? I didn't want to do that. I told her I would like to leave the solar panels here because we're leaving. We cannot come up to a good solution to this problem. So we're leaving. We would like to leave the solar panels with you so that you have electricity when we're gone. However, we have $8,000 invested in those solar panels. I'm not going to just give them to you, right? So if you would put it in writing that at the sale of the property that you give me $6,000 for these solar panels because they're brand fucking new, then you can keep these solar panels until the place sells, and then I will get my $6,000, and I'm totally happy with that. I don't know why that was unreasonable to her, but she did not want to sign anything. She said, I don't want to sign anything that if I change my mind later, I can't get out of. And then it dawned on me that she's the one that pushed the verbal agreement in the first place. When I brought up, let's get a lawyer, she said, well, I mean, you can do that if you want, but really, if you decided to leave, I'd be in shit, because I couldn't afford that. And so I have no reason to go against our verbal agreement. And I bought that at the time.
Yeah.
But the second time, when she's talking about how she doesn't want to sign anything that she can't get herself out of later, it dawned on me. She had taken me then. She's trying to take me now. I was like, you got to put it in. I'll come down. I'll go $4,000. And she's like, well, you're getting closer, but I don't even think I could do it with even two. I'm like, I am not. First of all, I need this money now so that I can move. So I was done. I was like, no, $6,000 is the lowest I'll go on that. And if you can't put it in writing, then I'm going to try to sell them right now so that I have money to move. And so we got enough money to move. It was only a couple $1,000s, but it was principle of the thing. Oh yeah, the first person we were going to sell them to was the person that installed them in the first place. He was going to buy them, and she knew that we were looking to sell them. So she called him and asked if we had asked him to buy them, and he apparently said yes. And she said that I was trying to take electricity away from her and leave her in without any power there, and that I was abandoning her, making me the bad guy. So he called me, and I explained my part of that situation, and he's like, "Well, I don't want to get in the middle of any of this, so I'm not gonna buy." So that would have actually gotten us the money the fastest. But yeah, she was fucking manipulative. Fucking. Yeah. Well, my mom's been manipulative my whole life. Sorry, Gerald, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
After talking with my sister a lot, because she remembers things when I was younger that I don't remember myself, it was very clear to me that since my sister liked my dad a lot, they were kind of a clique. My mom was not happy about that. So when I was born, she decided that I was going to be hers. And she kind of drove a wedge between me and my father my whole growing up, and I didn't like my father for a very long time because of that. And I always took her side, and I was trained to take her side because she was my mom. And I was a good son if I did what she wanted. And what kind of mother would have raised such a poor son, as this, if I did something against her? So It was very manipulative. I have a 2,000 square foot hillside yard for my garden, chickens and dogs, and the amount of wild animals my dog killed. You'd think I'd eat one, but after they kill it, it's not very appetizing. I bet not, Lance Corporal. Holy shit. We had antelope in our driveway. So we go into our main gate. That's basically the entrance to our property. Then we'd have to go up to the house gate, or we'd have to open it again to get into the house portion of the property. In the middle part of that, there was fucking antelope in the drive, like right next to the road. I'm driving up to them as close to me as Riddle is back there in the chair half the time, and they're not moving. And I'm just like, I really got to learn how to process you guys, because you're gonna be easy pickings.
It's not hard.
It's not. I'm like, holy crap! There's just get them from the porch.
I'm betting it's not no harder than doing a deer. Probably
Yeah,
easier, but smaller.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never done it, and I didn't want to the first time just to be by myself. I mean, I've watched some nature shows, but that's about the education I've got. All I know is don't puncture the stomach. Be very careful of the stomach. Other than
You
that,
try not to.
yeah.
Sometimes you're off with a bullet shot. The bullet does it for you.
Well, at the range I would have been shooting these deer, I could have done it with my Glock, 30,
Yeah.
Glock 30 or whatever, 45 cal.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how a bullet will angle off and go where it ain't supposed to once it's inside.
Right.
I shot one deer. He was kind of quartering towards me. Shot him just in front of the shoulder. Went down through the boiler room area, right through his liver and right through his stomach, and I found the bullet on the inside of the hide at the over by its back leg.
Damn.
Tore the inside of that animal up, cut it open, poured it out.
Lance
Just
says he also has a turkey walking around. My brother saw a flock walk up my parents' driveway. Wild turkeys, huh?
oh, we got wild turkeys all over the place here.
Not here. At least I've never seen them.
Brenda hit one day with a car. Bounced off her windshield. It flew off, so.
Wow, we got 8 people watching this. Holy crap. Y'all quiet, just lurking. Come on, when was the first time you tried marijuana? Who bought it? Whose idea was it? How'd you smoke it? In what? Come on. It's only polite. There'd been reading like
and how expensive was it?
Yeah, and how much did you pay for it? I mean, some people didn't pay for it. Some people got it from their, brother or stepbrother or some shit.
Brenda just hauled up $5 an eighth.
$5 an eighth. Holy shit.
How'd you ever get eighths back then?
$20 an ounce? Holy shit. Marijuana math real quick.
Now $5 an eighth, that'd be more than $20 an ounce.
Okay.
8 times.
See, I was wrong.
8 times 5 is 40.
Don't do drugs.
It was $40 an eighth.
Yeah.
But I think she was thinking quarter. Because she's older than I am. I'm 56. Like I said, I was around 19 when the price jumped.
Yeah, I forget. I mean, $10 for a dime.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they called it a dime bag, I guess.
Yeah, which was a half ounce.
No. It made 3 joints, dude. It was like one of the
a dime bag back in the day.
All right, so it wasn't a dime bag, but it cost me $10. All right. So I'm misremembering that. I'm misremembering.
A nickel was a quarter.
I got 3 joints worth, and they're not horribly small joints, for $10. I think I don't remember how many of an ounce he told me it was. It was a long time ago. I just
Pro-
remember
pro-
it was like the cheapest or the one of the least amounts you could buy.
I was gonna say, but they sold it by the gram, but yeah, could have been a $10 gram
It might
or
have been.
$5 gram. You got 2 grams.
Stinger, let's talk drugs, bro. Well, it was not exactly drugs. Now, I'm just curious about people. We all got a story, right? So this was an easy one. I know Gerald smokes. Mule, I was trying to get Mule in on this conversation too because I know well, obviously everybody knows he smokes. And I was actually kind of surprised by how many people haven't smoked, especially in this crowd. It's usually more, libertarian leaning. Like I'll do whatever the fuck I want and leave you alone to do whatever you want to do.
All I
In
know
terms of
is
bad drugs, the worst thing I've ever done was pills, though. So,
if shit hits the fan, I got plenty of weed to get me through.
right?
And I got a few seeds to get me another crop going.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to start growing it to myself and harvesting the seeds and regrowing the seeds, so that I don't have to pay for the seeds. Because right now I think they're like $10 a seed.
Yeah.
So if I had it my way, if I had land and it was legal and I could do everything without having to worry about
Well,
it,
you can buy seeds a lot cheaper, but they're not feminized.
yeah, I get it.
So
You're gonna have to sex them,
you're gonna have to sex them. But if you want seed, save one of the males and one of the females and set them aside somewhere together, way away from your other stuff,
Right?
and let that male plant pollinate that female plant, and then your buds will be seedy as hell in that plant.
Yeah,
And that's your sacrificial plant. It's your seed stock.
yeah, exactly.
If you did that with, you'd have enough seed for the next 10, 20 years in that one plant.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about, man. If I, then the new dream, obviously, I want at least 40 acres again, right? But I would love it to not have to worry about growing pot. Now, will I, even if I have to worry about it, I ain't gonna say, but I would love to not have to worry about growing it on some land where I don't have to pay for it anymore. I have to sex it once in a while or whatever, but
Here's your problem with growing it outdoors, though. You got your two-legged thieves that'll come around and steal it,
yeah,
and then you
I got
got
solutions for that.
and then you got your four-legged thieves that'll come out and eat it. Deer love it, moose love it, rabbits love it.
Wait, Lance Corporal, what what's funny, since California made weed legal, the second everyone heard I had a garden, everyone, even my wife, were like, "You got any weed, bro?" Classic. Love that. Yeah.
Well, they're building new dispensaries all the time around Bangor.
Right on.
Brenda just said too many.
Oh, we got some weird rules around here. So if you don't have a medical card, you can only get an ounce per customer. You can't get anything edible that's over 10 milligrams a dose.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Brenda's lollipop says she's getting her 50.
yeah,
They're $5 a piece.
Jeez. What's up, Broken Patriot? How you doing? Bless you. COVID.
There was one lollipop she got. It was almost like a sugar daddy, and that was a 50 milligram one.
Nice. Yeah, I need to
That just
condense my edibles, dude. My edibles are too weak. Or am I just too? Am I too? What do you call it? Tolerant to it now? Is that too much tolerance built up?
could have try adding more butter, leaving out more oil.
Well, I'm not using butter this time. This time we did the coconut oil.
Yeah.
which was, told to us, at least from what we read and shit, that it has more things to bind the THC to, so it's better than butter, and you don't have that slimy shit at the bottom. But which, by the way, if you make your butter ghee first, Gerald,
Yeah.
you don't have that slimy shit at the bottom,
Yeah.
because that's basically you've made ghee, but you didn't take out the solids, so that's just the
Yeah.
solids of the butter. So if you do it with ghee instead of butter, or if you make your butter into ghee, because there's an easy
Yeah.
process to do it, then you won't have that slimy
All
bottom.
right. Just make clarified butter.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
Brenda's got that master. That was one of the first things they taught him at culinary school.
Yeah. That shit's really good for weed, dude. It doesn't have that slimy bottom. You don't have to cut that out. It's nice and clarified and just salt. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. And my molds and my butter molds.
Mm.
We got some gummy bear molds because we wanted to use the oil for gummies, right?
Yeah.
And they're the smallest gummy bear molds I've ever seen in my life. These little itty bitty teeny weeny little gummies. You got to eat like 2 handfuls of the fucking things in order to get high.
Oh, yeah.
And the process of making them is kind of a labor thing, but I guess what we got to do is we got to buy more molds, but make them bigger because this is bullshit.
And another thing, though, you followed my directions right to the letter
Yeah,
for minimalist amount of pot.
right.
Like I said, I start off with that and then add to it here and there. I may be throwing an ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half to a pound of butter.
Doing good. Tired as hell. My studio is almost done. Well, I'm
Where
glad
the
you're
recipe, yeah, where the recipe calls for an ounce of pot to the pound of butter, I may be by the time I'm done with a batch, it's got probably an ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half per pound of butter.
So how much can a pound of butter actually hold then of THC? I mean, if you did a pound
I
and a
don't
half
know.
of weed per pound of butter,
I don't know. I
there's
don't
some
know
limit.
what. I don't know how much it would hold.
Because if that's the
But
case, I'm gonna do like a half a pound of butter to an ounce of weed next time. Because dude, it needs to be stronger. Or
mm,
or I'm just too damn tolerant of it. I don't know. And then, do we always get the same strain for edibles?
maybe there's something in them solids that help release more of the THC too,
Yeah.
because it's the fats and stuff that the THC likes to cling to.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why. Yeah, that's why the coconut oil.
Mm,
I don't have the solid
yeah,
coconut oil. I have the liquid coconut oil, which I didn't even know existed until I found this out about weed. But we
yeah,
have the already clarified liquid coconut oil. It doesn't taste like coconut at all. It just tastes like oil,
mm.
and you can put it in whatever you want, so you don't have to ruin the flavor of it. And that's supposed to have more fat molecules for the THC to bind to, but I don't know. Maybe I should have done a little bit less oil and a little bit more weed.
Do you ever watch the YouTube channel Grow Your Own Greens?
I've seen the channel. I haven't watched it recently because I haven't been in the market right now to grow my own greens.
Well, a few years ago, he did a video. He doesn't smoke the stuff, but he does do edibles and juices it and shit like that. I guess he went to some dispensary and they gave him a big bag of clippings, fresh clippings, had some premature buds in it and shit like that. He ran it all through his juicer. He runs some mandarin oranges through it and some coconut. He tried it. He said it fucked him up for about 12 hours. So he didn't know if it was just him having a low tolerance to it because he'd always heard you'd had to cook the stuff in order to release the THC.
Mm.
Eating it raw wouldn't get you high. And one of his buddies was a stoner, and he come over and he said, "Well, I'll give it a try." He goes, "Because you got to cook it to release the THC." He goes, "That ain't going to be nothing but probably a nasty tasting green drink." Well, he drank it. He come back. He says, "I think I found my new way of doing pot." He goes, "Might help clear up my lungs. I won't have to smoke it anymore."
Right.
He goes, "The best buzz he'd ever had." Turns out it was the acid from the orange and the fat from the coconut that caused the chemical reaction, gave the THC something to bind to, and it went into his little juicer drink.
Wow. My wife found out that the pulp of the flour after you
Yeah,
infuse the oil, she found a recipe for peanut butter cookies that use that as a filler in the cookie. So
I
we
bet
were
it
able
would
to get
taste
high
nasty.
from the leftovers, and you can't even notice. I mean, they're not great cookies, but they'll get you high.
Yeah, but that leftover pot must taste nasty.
No,
No?
we just well, she made them healthy-ish, I guess.
I made it exactly as the recipe called for.
Okay.
Pulp.
Well, I was just thinking after cooking that pot so long, that stuff would taste nasty. That's all.
No, it's just pulp, peanut butter, and sugar apparently. And you cook it again, and you don't even really taste the pulp. Like I didn't even. It doesn't taste like the greatest peanut butter cookie you ever had, but it doesn't taste like the worst one you ever had either. It tastes like if you have a person who's a health nut that tried to make a healthy peanut butter cookie. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah, but if it got you high,
It
what the
got
hell,
it,
right?
it gets you high, and you. This is what the cookie looks like. Wait,
Yeah.
there's the cookie right there. Yeah, it's not the greatest color. It's not the greatest consistency, but it'll get the job done. It doesn't taste like weed pulp, so.
Well, there, that's half the battle, getting rid of the weed pulp taste.
Mm-hmm. You can cook with citric acid, can you? I didn't know that.
Yes, it'll if you can put citrus acid on the fish and cook the fish that way.
Hmm.
They do it with salmon.
I just learned something new.
Like I said, the citrus acid caused a chemical reaction with the pot that made it give up its THC, and that guy's drinking the coconut gave it the oil it needed to the fat it needed to bind to dispense out.
Hmm.
So I guess you could even juice it if you had a juicer.
Right?
Say, hey, you got a
You can
couple of
have a
branches.
smoothie.
Just say, hey, you got a couple of branches that aren't trimmed yet. You give me cheap, good and fresh. You want to make sure they got plenty of liquid in them when I run them through the juicer.
Shred any kind of meat, seafood. The best tasting mix with lemon juice. Leave for a few hours. It's technically cooked.
Yeah,
I was never big into eating fish until recently, and I'm still not big into it. I just eat it more often now. Try to.
try haddock. You might like that. It's a seafood. It's
I
a
think I've
Atlantic.
had a haddock. I think I've had it at wasn't it haddock at Pete's Pete's and Fish and Chips?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't horrible.
Pollock ain't bad. Alaskan pollock ain't
A
bad.
lot of times they substitute for
A lot of times, some places will substitute the Alaskan pollock for the haddock.
Well, for me, it was like a childhood trauma thing. So there's no reason for me not to like fish, other than some bullshit that happened to me as a kid that no longer fucking matters. So I'm trying to get back into, trying fish here and there just because I want to get over this psychological bullshit
Yeah.
because that's all it is. But it's had its ups and downs.
See, I'm big on the landlocked salmon. I love going fishing for those. That's why I got to find an outboard for my boat. I've got a 16-foot tri-hull. Hasn't been in the water in 9 years.
Well, Gerald, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I'd like to get a couple hours in with the wife before we have to head to bed.
Yeah.
But it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope to see you again next week. And if we get anybody that wants to help out with the get the catch up on Rumble stream, because apparently you can stream to Rumble. So if people want to do that, there's ways to donate if you want. Uh, if not, that's cool too. We can just do the Dragon on Friday nights because this is fun and I like hanging out with peeps here. So, all right, I'm gonna end the stream and see you guys. See you next week. Yep, Mexican seafood restaurant serves seafood. Yep, me.
Yeah.
There you go.